Hello, everyone. I'm Joe Prince-Wright, the lead writer and editor of NBC Sports' Pro Soccer Talk. Thanks for joining me for our latest watch-along. We're going to watch Arsenal against Liverpool together. And if you're in the USA, you can, of course, watch it on Peacock TV. Find out all the details on NBCSports.com for that, as we see a lovely aerial shot at the Emirates Stadium in North London, the London skyline. The scene is set. So firstly, I'm going to go through the team news for both of these teams. And then send me in your score predictions. I see all your comments coming in on the right here. So really interesting to have you join me. We did this once before for Liverpool Man City a few weeks ago, and it was a great success. I absolutely love chatting with you all. So yeah, you know the drill. Send your comments in. The idea is for me to chat with you, answer any questions you have about these two teams, the Champions League, Premier League, top four, relegation battle. Whatever you want to talk about, basically, I'm here. And seeing there's a situation around the world right now, we can't get together and watch games with friends in the pub or at houses like we could do previously. I've got a beer, so cheers. And grab a beer, some snacks, and yeah, let's go and watch it together, right? Make the best of this situation. And this watch-along will focus heavily on soccer, football, wherever you're watching in the world, but also on beer and snacks. I've got plenty of those. So to recap the team news quickly for Liverpool, obviously two main changes for them as Alexander-Arnold and Oxlade-Chamberlain's come in. Pretty much full strength for Liverpool, aside from captain Jordan Henderson being out injured. And for Arsenal, 5 changes from the team which lost against Tottenham. And Mikel Arteta sort of had the FA Cup semi-final in mind there, you have to say. They're playing Man City on Saturday in the FA Cup semi-final. So Aubameyang's on the bench, very interesting, but still a decently strong Arsenal team. I'd argue, Arsenal fans out there, that there is not much between these teams in terms of the one they put out at the weekend and the one that they have put out tonight. So emails coming in, all sorts going on here. Kickoff is nearly underway, and Arsenal have given Liverpool the guard of honour out onto the pitch. They are now, of course, the Premier League champions, have been for some time now. So that's going to keep happening to the end of the season. So, yeah, in the comments section, can see a lot of you there getting excited about this game. Let me know where in the world you're watching from. Really intrigued to see where you're watching from, be it the US. I think last time we had Brazil, Tanzania, Uganda, Australia, across England. So, yeah, let me know where you're watching from. Always interesting to see as the players here give their support to the Black Lives Matter movement in the Premier League. Before every game, players have been taking a knee and showing the solidarity with the patches, and of course, as they try and help to fight against racism as much as they possibly can. So it's been wonderful to see that throughout the Premier League restart. Okay, so let's see where you're watching from. My goodness, a lot of people coming in there. We've got Switzerland, California, Wisconsin, North Carolina, Nepal, New Jersey, Houston, Texas, Jamaica, Ethiopia, Florida, Chicago, Las Vegas, San Francisco, Mississippi, Hogwarts. That's a new one, but we'll take it for you Harry Potter fans out there. And yeah, there's basically every state that I can. Boise, Idaho's in the house, Massachusetts, Seattle, Houston again. This is really cool. This is really cool. So yeah, as I said, if you're watching in the US, we're trialing our new streaming service, which launched nationwide today, Peacock, which is showing Premier League games live today, all 4 of them. And then for next season, it will be the main streaming service for Premier League games that aren't shown on NBCSN and on NBC, the main channel. So check out NBCSports.com. I've written a few articles there you'll be able to find, which will explain how to sign up. And the good thing for me about it is that Peacock TV comes with Premier League games, so you get all the access to movies, shows, thousands and thousands of hours of great stuff there. So different to the Premier League Pass on NBC Sports Gold in the past, now you actually can see everything else from NBC all in one place on Peacock TV. So let's have a look at some of your score predictions. I will reveal my score prediction. Before the game, I would have probably said a draw. But seeing the team that Arsenal put out, they definitely prioritised the FA Cup semi-final against Man City, which is fair enough given their league situation. Still a strong team, but I think with Liverpool pretty much full strength, I'm going to go for a 2-1 Liverpool win. So send your score predictions in here. 2-0 to Liverpool. 3-1 to Liverpool, Derek Ruiz says. A few 10-0 scorelines out there, which that would be something, but I don't think we're going to see a Premier League record win today. 2-2, says Brandon Bear. Sophia says 3-1, looks like to Arsenal. A lot of 3-1s out there, so I hope you're right. I hope you're right for that. But yeah, so to start the game, Wijnaldum's got the ball now, and Liverpool kind of just building up, having a lot of possession. And Arsenal it looks like obviously a back four for them, which is a little bit of an unusual team selection. And Jurgen Klopp, before the game, he did say that he picked his Liverpool team because he thought that Arsenal were going to play 5 at the back. So looks like Arteta's already got one over Klopp there as the camera pans to Aubameyang. And obviously he's on the bench. He's sat in the stand, but he's looking on eagerly. And he's been brilliant since the restart. Okay, to go through some more score predictions. And again, for those of you joining, this is a watch along. So what we're doing is we're having a beer, we're having a chat, and where most of us in the world right now cannot watch games with others in pubs and bars. This is our idea to all come together, watch Arsenal against Liverpool, send me your questions and analysis, and then I'll do my best to answer any questions I can. So Io says 5-1 to Liverpool, 2-0 to Liverpool. Anti-Paula says 1-0 to Arsenal, 2-0 Arsenal. There's a lot of varied scoreline. Usually when I chuck this out into the comments section, you'll see one or the other really be favoured. But there we go. Arsenal 2, Liverpool 1, 3-0 Liverpool. Liverpool 6, Arsenal 0. Liverpool. Okay, maybe you're going a bit more towards Liverpool now. But I am intrigued. We'll go through a few questions that I have for you guys, but send me your questions on these teams, what you think they maybe need over the transfer window. Now we know that the Premier League transfer window is going to be from July 27th, the day after the season finishes, until October the 5th. So we now have a transfer window. That's good. Haven't been able to say that for a while now, given all the delays and everything that's gone on, because obviously it's already quite a delay to normality and what a normal season would look like. So Liverpool and Arsenal fans, in the comments, tell me one player that you want to sign this summer. As for the action on the pitch, Liverpool are sort of breaking away at Oxlade-Chamberlain, former Arsenal player, making some inroads from right to left, coast to coast, as we say in the US, right across the pitch. And some nice possession here for Liverpool. It does look like Arsenal are going to maybe, I'd say, sit back, but today has won the ball in midfield, and very interesting today that Lacazette wearing the captain's armband up there, if I did get a glimpse of that correctly. So, yeah, will be really interesting. Okay, D-Boy Soccer asks, will Chelsea get my favourite player Kai Havertz? I hope so. I think he's a wonderful player, having seen a lot of the Bundesliga since the restart. And Havertz just has that wonderful ability on the ball, doesn't he? Always seems to pop up in the right areas, have time, composure, and he's got a finishing touch as well, which, if you are a Chelsea fan asking that question, I assume you are, but I think that's what Chelsea have been missing. And with Timo Werner coming in and Hakim Ziyech as well, they got a lot more firepower now. Like, no disrespect to Tammy Abraham, he had a really good start to the season, but it's been tough for him. Hasn't had a rest, been battling through some injuries. Giroud's come in and done okay, but it was a bit nervy last night, wasn't it, against Norwich? 1-0 win against an already relegated team. And Frank Lampard said, we need that cutting edge. We need to kill teams and score 2, 3, 4 goals when we're on top. And Chelsea haven't done that all season. So, yeah, really good question. Thanks for that. I think Kai Havertz looks like, and the noises are, that he really wants to come to the Premier League. The latest is that he said being in the Champions League doesn't make a difference to him. So even if Chelsea don't finish in the top four, which I'll get onto your top four predictions in a minute, but I think is likely. But even if they don't, then it shouldn't impact them. And Chelsea, of course, one of the few Premier League teams that have some money to spend this summer. We've already seen that. Brian Mendy said, "Do I like Pulisic?" Yes, I do. He's been brilliant. I actually spoke to Norwich City's manager, Daniel Farke, after the game against Chelsea last night. And he was in the coaching staff at Borussia Dortmund when Pulisic was coming through at Dortmund in the youth team. And then obviously kind of skipped the reserve squad that Farke was in charge of. But he was still coaching him, having sessions, and knows him very well. And you could see him on TV. He was speaking to him after the game. But I asked Farke, what could... I have to be careful, by the way. But I asked Farke, what do you think about Pulisic's potential and what level can he get to? And he said he has no doubt that he will be a world-class player. And that sound you can hear is US national team fans and American soccer fans rejoicing everywhere. We know how good he's been since the restart. And yeah, that kind of takes me on to my next big topic for you guys. Pulisic, the word world-class gets chucked around quite often in football, but in your opinion, I know we're watching Arsenal-Liverpool here, and by the way, Liverpool got a corner, continue their good start. But would you say that Christian Pulisic is world-class, or he's on the way to becoming world-class? Because when I spoke to the Norwich City manager, I kind of thought that, yes, he could be world-class. He's maybe still got a little bit of a way to go. But the way he started since the restart, he's been one of the best players in the Premier League. And there's no doubt he's got the potential to be. But I don't want to be too hasty in saying he is now world-class. Still 21 years of age. But yeah, chuck it out in the comments section what you think about Pulisic and if he is world-class. Talking about world-class, Virgil van Dijk's on the ball. And in the attacking half of the pitch, he's in the box, keeping the ball. Arsenal trying to get out, but Liverpool are all over him at the moment. Fabinho clipped in a lovely ball, but just a bit too long for Van Dijk, who's got his hands in the air asking for a little bit better delivery. So let's have a look at some of you. Okay, we've got some people here saying Liverpool fans actually saying they want Thiago Alcantara or Mila Rashica, two players that Liverpool have been heavily linked with there. I think Thiago, especially looking at this midfield today, we got Wijnaldum, Fabinho, and Oxlade-Chamberlain, all kind of similar players, right? In terms of they work hard. Fabinho is obviously more defensive. Wijnaldum's a number 8. The Ox is slightly more attacking, a converted winger. But you don't really have, if you're Liverpool, a player that can totally slow down the game, be a deep line playmaker. And that is maybe the one thing you're missing when I think about some of the times that Liverpool have come unstuck this season. Has obviously been against Atletico Madrid in the Champions League, recently against Man City. And it's that option of when the team's sitting back and defending, not against Man City, but against Atletico Madrid, when you've got a lot of the ball and your main attacking weapons want space in behind and want to hit teams on the counter, it's good to have someone who can really dictate the play, put their foot on the ball, spray it around. So I think Thiago would be a great signing for Liverpool. And it sounds like that might happen as well. So really interested. So, all right, some of your comments on Pulisic here. We'll get to those in a minute, but obviously we're focusing on Liverpool, Arsenal, and that just coming up towards opening 15 minutes. Trent Alexander-Arnold's on a free kick. He's walked over it. Robertson's whipped it in, but Emiliano Martinez has come out and caught it very, very easily. So the pattern of the game so far is Arsenal sitting back, trying to deny Liverpool that space. Oh my goodness, almost a goal. Almost one of the most bizarre goals you'll ever see for Liverpool. So the ball is played back by Kieran Tierney to Martinez, and he goes to spray the ball out wide from inside his own 6-yard box. Firmino closes him down. Oh, he hit the post, and Firmino's outstretched leg blocks the ball. It goes back towards the Arsenal goal 6 yards out and hit the post. So Liverpool nearly took the lead with 12 minutes on the clock at the Emirates Stadium. And it'd be no more than they deserved, because this has been a very good Liverpool display so far. Arsenal can't really get out of their own half. Okay, Lord Walker, this is a good comment and then question. Considering Klopp is leaving in 4 years, that's, you know, what we think, but not confirmed, Lord, unless you know more than we do. How important is it to revamp and bring in some young talent like Havertz and Sancho to set a solid foundation for the future? It's important, of course. Liverpool, I don't think we've already seen how Man City have reacted after the restart, and with their situation that we will get on to talking about with no UEFA ban, they can spend a lot of money, and they probably will, especially on the defensive unit. So Liverpool, as great as they've been this season, you cannot get left behind in the Premier League. You cannot take your eye off the ball. And when it comes to spending, they've obviously added key pieces in Van Dijk, Alisson, and Firmino as well. So when they've had to spend big, they have done. But I just get the sense that Jurgen Klopp doesn't really want to do that. I feel like in the next 4 years, as you said, he wants to build something for the future, as you mentioned. And I think he sees a big future in the likes of Neco Williams, who played right back and played really well. See Curtis Jones, Harvey Elliott, and Van der Berg. There's so many good young players that they've actually bought in from elsewhere in Europe, or other teams in England have snapped up the big youth prospects. So I think it will be interesting to see what Liverpool do from the transfer perspective. But it certainly doesn't sound like they're going to spend a lot of money. So I can't see them buying Sancho or Havertz or Mbappe. Some of those players have been linked with. But now I say that, in a couple of years' time, Mane, Firmino, Salah will all be getting up in age, and maybe that's when they buy someone like Sancho or Mbappe. Things change quite quickly in football, but at the moment, I think Liverpool's philosophy and their transfer strategy is a little bit different. Thanks for your question, Lord Walker. So, again, I'm Joe Prince-Wright, the lead writer, editor, NBC Sports Soccer Talk. Thanks for joining me for the watch-along, having a beer here, a nice lager. And I got some chips and dip, which I'm going to crack into. And yeah, I'm going to open a can of worms in the comments section now, and I'm going to ask you quite simply, what do you guys think about the big news this week? Manchester City's European ban, 2-year ban from UEFA being overturned by the Court of Arbitration for Sport. So just going to drop that, leave it in the comments, and then see what you guys have to say while I have a bit of a snack here. This should be interesting. Do you think it was fair? Do you think Man City should have been banned? What do you make of the fact that they were fined 10 million euros, but they obviously remained in the in the Champions League? Sorry. Okay, so a lot of people saying they think Man City should have been banned. They should have been banned. Wanted Man United to be in the Champions League. So, of course, the fallout from Man City not being banned for the Champions League for the next 2 seasons is that the Champions League spots in the Premier League is only top 4 now, where everyone was thinking it would be top 5. But now, of course, that isn't the case. So if you're Chelsea, if you're Leicester, if you're Manchester United, Wolves, we saw just kind of coughed up a late 2 points at Burnley, so they're probably out of it. But if you're Leicester, Chelsea, or Man United, you're nervous right now, because all of a sudden your margin for error has gone down a lot because of Man City being let off by UEFA. Well, not by UEFA, but the Court of Arbitration for Sport. So there's only 2 Champions League spots available when it looked like there'd be 3. So, in conclusion, a lot of people aren't happy about the ban. Some are saying about Chelsea's transfer ban. They should be banned, and asking for Man City not to be in the Champions League. But they won their appeal. They're going to be in the Champions League next season. And that is a big boost for them and for the rest of the Premier League. I think it's kind of bad news because Pep Guardiola's side are going to now be able to strengthen the defence, because financially they're going to have an extra couple $100 million in terms of the money they get from the Champions League. So let's wait and see. A lot of good questions coming in. Keep them coming in, because there is so many here. Jackson, who do I think will win the Champions League? If Man City can get past Real Madrid, I think that may be their toughest task. So I'm going to go for Man City. I would love to see someone like Atalanta or Leipzig obviously win, but I think Man City or Bayern Munich are my two favourites. And if Barca can get past Napoli, we all know the great attacking players they've had, and maybe what happened to them last season against Liverpool really fueled them for the Champions League. Diego Nunes, do I think Sheffield United will do better next season? And Diego, I don't know if that's possible. Speaking to Chris Wilder a lot on the post-game press conferences. And by the way, we'll have reaction from Arsenal, Liverpool, from both managers, Arteta and Klopp, on NBCSports.com. So head over to Pro Soccer Talk and we'll have you covered. But yeah, I've been speaking to Chris Wilder quite a lot recently. And number one, he's a nice bloke. Number two, I don't see things changing drastically at Sheffield United. So if they've done it this season, why can't they do it next season? They're right up there in the Europa League hunt. I'd say more so than Champions League, but who knows? They got obviously some big games coming up against Leicester City. And as I say that, Liverpool 1-0 up. That man, Sadio Mane, puts them ahead. Lovely play down the left flank. I think it was Andy Robertson whipped it into the 6-yard box. Arsenal kind of caught out after a long ball. Robertson headed it forward. Wijnaldum to Firmino. Firmino found Robertson with a perfectly timed run, and Mane slotted home. So 1-0 Liverpool. Liverpool fans, what do you think about this opening 20 minutes of the game here? Because performance-wise, this has maybe been the best they've played since the restart. I don't know if you agree with that, but I was a little bit worried about Liverpool going into this after the draw against Burnley, defeat against Man City, draw against Everton. Haven't really been at your best since the restart, and that's understandable because you've won the league. You don't really need to do a lot, but obviously going for the record points tally, a record number of wins, record winning margins, so still a lot to play for. But Sadio Mane, 1-0, very good goal. But Arsenal came on the attack there right away from kickoff, so it looks like Arsenal may be getting rid of their slightly defensive game plan, but all of a sudden Mane's on the attack again. This is end-to-end now, and Mane, deflected shot towards the far post that Martinez saved, and this is like a basketball game. It really is end-to-end. Granit Xhaka's just been caught in possession. Firmino has it. Alexander-Arnold to Firmino is popping up everywhere with that new red mohawk he's got. Lovely little hairdo. Oxlade-Chamberlain's in the box. Salah's getting a nick on the ball, and it's a corner to Liverpool. It's all Liverpool right now, basically. If you're just joining this watch-along, it is all Liverpool. And I need a sip of beer to try and have a breather. So the corner's coming in. Big Van Dijk is up, heads it towards goal. Martinez saved it. So all Liverpool. All Liverpool so far. So some of your score predictions were pretty pro-Liverpool in the comments section. Looks like you could be spot on. Not a good start for Arsenal, and you have to say that the 5 changes they made to the starting lineup seems to have impacted them. impacted them. Look a bit disjointed, especially going forward. Aubameyang is on the bench. Would be surprised if he doesn't come on at least for the last 30 minutes. But instead of shot there of Arteta, he doesn't look pleased. Let's put it that way. Okay, Liverpool on the attack again. And another corner for Liverpool. Okay, the drinks break after this corner. I'm going to chuck out another question to you. I want to ask you, who do you think is going to finish in the top four? We know Liverpool won the title, Man City second, but who are going to secure those very valuable third and fourth place spots for Champions League qualification? So, Sadio Mane's gone down in the box. Holding his mouth, looks like he might have got a whack from someone. He's up. He's doing okay. David Luiz heads it clear, sort of. Lacazette, it's knocking around goal kick. And that's drinks. So if it's good enough for Arsenal Liverpool, it's certainly good enough for me. And I hope you guys are having a beer or snack or drink, whatever you've got at home or wherever you're watching. So yeah, comment section. Top four, talk to me. Man United, Leicester, obviously Chelsea. Wolves are still kind of in the hunt. Which teams are going to make it? Who are the two teams you think are going to make the top four and qualify for the Champions League? I'll let you know who I think, but right now, okay, so we got a lot of questions coming. This is great. A lot of answers. Man United and Chelsea. Man United and Chelsea. That's Nick Barakat. Ben Medrick says Chelsea. D-Boy Soccer, Chelsea and Man United. Abanev says, I think it's going to be as it is. So that would be Chelsea and Leicester. You don't think Man United are going to get into it? Wow. Cameron Robinson says Tottenham. Oh, Cameron. Not sure what to make of that, but got to love the loyalty there to Spurs. Man United and Chelsea says Jackson. Arjun Patel says, who's a Liverpool fan, says City, Man United and Chelsea. Adam Gunther says Sheffield United. All right, left field, I like it. They've still got a chance. David says Liverpool, Man City, Chelsea, then Wolves. Wow. All right, Wolves. We've had a few different ones there, so maybe. Why do you guys think that? Because from what I've seen, Leicester have totally gone. That collapse at Bournemouth, I think, will be damaging, and that mad spell in the last 5 or 6 minutes pretty much wrecked their wonderful season they had under Brendan Rodgers. Of course, they had Man United at home on the final day of the season, so who knows how that's going to go. But so for me, after Wolves' result today, of course, Raul Jimenez scored if you didn't see the games earlier. And then Burnley got a 95th minute penalty kick to get an equaliser and nick 2 points off Wolves. So Wolves aren't going to get in the Champions League through the league position, I don't think. But for me, Leicester have gone, so I think it's Man United and Chelsea. But maybe Sheffield United have a chance. Very interested by this. Giovanni Galva says Brendan Rodgers has letting the season slip by. I agree with that. This is not like an overnight thing, is it, for Leicester? Since December time, January, they've been right off the boil, really. You know, Vardy has scored goals recently, but had a bit of a drought. James Maddison hasn't been quite the same player. And then people who are chipping in with goals, like obviously Tielemans is a great creator, but I think about Jose Perez and other strikers that Leicester have. No one else has really been helping in the goal scoring department. So not a massive surprise, but still, I think at one point they had a 14-point lead over Manchester United. And now they can obviously fall behind Manchester United if they beat Crystal Palace on Thursday. And Leicester have a tough game against Sheffield United. Okay, Jackson's got a question. Jackson, so we're going to switch our focus to the relegation battle now. So we're talking about the top four. Relegation. Obviously, Norwich City are down. And then it really is 2 from 4, maybe 2 from 5. I'm not really including Brighton because I think they've just got enough points to stay in the Premier League. But when we recap the situation, so West Ham and Watford have got 34 points, just hovering above the relegation zone. And then you have Bournemouth on 31 and Aston Villa on 30. And Villa have got Everton this week. And Bournemouth lost against Manchester City earlier. So obviously, Bournemouth now, they go into a game against South Coast rivals Southampton on Sunday, needing to get something. Otherwise, they're going to be relegated from the Premier League, it seems likely, because West Ham play Watford in a massive game on Friday night or Friday afternoon here in the States. So who do you think is going to be relegated? The final 2 teams. So just, send me in the comments who you think. I'm going to let you guys sort it out in the comments first, because obviously Norwich have gone, but I have my own thoughts on the 2 teams that are going to join them being relegated to the Championship. And while you think about the relegation scrap, Liverpool, it's all Liverpool. Jurgen Klopp will be very happy with this display so far. And I urge any of you out there, if you haven't had bean dip, give it a whirl. This is great. Spicy bean dip and a beer. Arsenal against Liverpool. Chatting with you guys. I don't know how Wednesday afternoon could get any better than this. So cheers to you all. Okay, a relegation picture. Bournemouth and Watford, says Siddharth. James Ledge, Villa and Bournemouth. Jackson is a Bournemouth fan, so he says Watford and Aston Villa. Wishful thinking there, Jackson. But, who knows? Who knows? If you get a win against Southampton at the weekend, South Coast neighbours may do you a favour. Then it's all going into that final game of the season. And of course, as we look at the fixtures in the Premier League for some of these teams at the bottom, it's tough. It's going to be tough for them, especially when I look at the likes of Watford. And to recap their final 2 games after they play West Ham on Friday, Watford have Man City and then they finish at Arsenal. So not easy for them. For Bournemouth, they have Southampton and Everton. Could see Bournemouth getting 4 points from that. And Aston Villa, of course, it's going to be tough for them. They play Everton and Arsenal, and then they play in that massive, massive game on the final day of the season, which I think will be pivotal, away at West Ham United. So not a lot of you said West Ham, which I'm quite surprised by. Maybe that's because they've been playing so well. But I just think, I'm going to reveal my 2 that I think are going to go down. I think Bournemouth now have left themselves with too much to do defensively. They're all over the place. I think their luck has just run out. So I think Bournemouth are going to join Norwich. And then I think I'm going to go with Watford. I think they're going to lose the last 3 games. I can see them losing against West Ham. So I think they'll pretty much be safe after that, West Ham. And then the final day of the season, I could see Villa going to West Ham and getting something, and then Villa getting something tomorrow at Everton. So I'm going to say that Villa and West Ham stay up, and Watford and Bournemouth join Norwich in being relegated. Oh, it's 1-1. After all that Liverpool possession, Virgil van Dijk is not a happy man. He's asking the referee for a foul, but a very, very surprising goal there. Lacazette has made it 1-1, Arsenal against Liverpool. Van Dijk caught in possession, gave the ball short as he was trying to play it back to his goalkeeper, Alisson, and Lacazette nipped in. He's asking for a foul, but that would have been extremely soft if that was given. As Reece Nelson was kind of just closing Van Dijk down, just pressuring him. Had a little tug on his shoulder, but nothing more, than you usually would see in a players going side by side. Van Dijk squared it. Lacazette read it. 1-1. Game on. This is going to get interesting now, right? Arsenal, hopefully, for their sake, can get a lot of confidence from that goal because haven't played well up until that point. But for all Liverpool's possession, another little sloppy defensive error, which has been plentiful since the restart, especially compared to the rest of the season. So, yeah, here we go. Another Arsenal attack. Granit Xhaka leading the charge, cutting inside. Playing Cedric in on the right. He's whipped it in. Not a bad cross, not a good one either. And Alisson catches it. Okay, Jesus Perez and Jackson are asking me some questions. Who will get promoted to the Premier League? It looks like on the latest results, obviously Leeds United are last to play. But if I'm looking at the Championship table here, I've got a sneaky feeling that Brentford are going to nick it. Obviously, a massive win for them today against Preston. And so if you don't know what's going on in the Championship for promotion up to the Premier League, Leeds are top on 84 points. West Brom are second on 82 points. And Brentford are third on 81 points. So only 3 points between third and first. The difference is Leeds United have a game in hand. So obviously they can pretty much seal promotion if they win their game in hand, which is against Barnsley, who are actually bottom of the table. So it's top against bottom tomorrow. So I think Leeds will go up. I think even Leeds cannot blow it from this situation. They've been so close over the years. And I fancy Brentford, the form they're in. They've been absolutely incredible. Play a wonderful brand of football. Got that lovely new stadium in West London, which is ready to roll for next season, obviously. So what a great, first full season in that stadium it would be for Brentford to be in the Premier League for the first time in the Premier League era. And I think they're going to do it. I think they're just going to pit. They have the edge on goal difference as well. So I think Brentford, looking at their last couple of games of the season, they play Stoke and Barnsley, who are towards the bottom of the Championship table. West Brom have got a couple of lowly teams in Huddersfield and QPR. And of course, Leeds have got Derby, Barnsley, and Charlton. So it's going to be exciting. I think I'll go right down to the wire. But I would say Leeds and Brentford. And then West Brom, if they do slip out at the last minute of the automatic promotion spots, that's going to be a hammer blow. How often do you see the team that finishes in third in the Championship bow out of the playoffs right away, because it's just so demoralising to be that close to automatic promotion in most situations and then get yourself up for a playoff push. So in the playoffs, I like Fulham. I think they've got enough quality. Obviously, Mitrovic and others knock out in the attack. There's Liverpool on the attack, but Mo Salah can't quite get on the end of a cross. And he fouls Bukayo Saka. So heading towards half-time, about 9 minutes plus stoppage time to go. Arsenal 1, Liverpool 1. And the story of the game really is Liverpool domination, but Arsenal have had one good chance. That was provided to them on a plate by Virgil van Dijk. Lacazette took it. The skipper today, Alexandre Lacazette, which is really interesting considering his future. I want to chat with Arsenal fans about that in the second half. And yeah, 1-1, game on. Piers Williams said Liverpool should sign Akinfenwa. Jurgen Klopp loves him. He's been invited, obviously, to Liverpool title celebration. Liverpool fan. And it was brilliant. It really was brilliant to see his celebration of Wycombe Wanderers. If you don't know what happened in League One this week, the third division in England, Wycombe Wanderers promoted to the Championship for the first time in club history. I believe they're 134 years old, which is quite something to think about. They've never been in the second tier of English soccer. And they beat Oxford United at Wembley 2-1. And Akinfenwa was saying he's a huge Liverpool and Jurgen Klopp fan, and Klopp has invited him to obviously spend time and celebrating with the Liverpool team. And he's a larger-than-life character. Let's just say that. So look up Akinfenwa. I think a lot of you may have a new favourite player because he scores goals for fun in the lower leagues in England, and it will be really interesting to see him in the Championship next season for Wycombe because such a small team. But Ainsworth, done a great job there to take them through the leagues in England. Daryl Williams asked me about Nottingham Forest. Yeah, they've had a good season. One of those teams just ticked along very nicely. Finally have a manager who sort of aligns with the players they have, come close in the playoffs and get into the playoffs the last few seasons. Massive club, obviously two-time European champions, former champions of England. And I would say out of the teams that are in sort of the playoff hunt there, they have the quality, but I don't know if they have the momentum. A few results, obviously Derby and stuff recently. Sadio Mane heads over the bar. I still think Cardiff is a team that just seems to put together results and grind out wins and victories, which is a really good trait to have in the playoffs when you're not maybe playing well at the end of the season. So I think Fulham and Cardiff maybe just edge it to them. But as we've got an injury on the pitch here, Cedric Suarez has gone down. He had some surgery to fix a problem in the face when he broke his nose, and he's gone down holding his nose in the box from a corner. So looks okay for right now, but got a bit of a smack in the chops, as we would say. And the game continues, so he's all right to continue. Oh, Randy Flamethrower has come through with an absolute flamethrower of an opinion in the comments here. Sergio Ramos is better than Virgil van Dijk. Discuss. Liverpool fans especially. Also, Glenn Levy said, says, will I eat that plant if Wycombe win back-to-back promotions next season? So we're saying that they're going to get to the Premier League. All right, I'll give you that. It's not real, so I don't know if I can really eat that without making myself quite sick, but I will eat a plant, maybe not just this one, if Wycombe get to the Premier League next season. How about that? How about that for you, Clint? I can't believe I've just committed to that. But all right, July 15th, 2020, you can find this YouTube video on NBC Sports. If Wycombe actually do get promoted to the Premier League, Glenn, I won't let you down. Neil Stewart said, Millwall was making a run. What would that be like if they're promoted? In a word, Neil, lively. Have you ever been to the New Den down in Bermondsey, South London? Anybody will know what I mean. Fans are raucous, let's say that. Very intimidating atmosphere for away teams. Obviously, we don't know if there would be fans next season in the Premier League yet, but when we do get back to that stage of Millwall in the Premier League, they bring something totally different than we've ever seen before. So, yeah, really, sort of obviously Gary Rowett's there and knows how to get teams in and around the playoffs and build a good, solid championship team. Bartosz Białkowski, really good Polish keeper in goal. Was at Ipswich and Southampton in the past and has been one of their star players this season. And like Cardiff City, just kind of horrible to play against. Grind out wins, not the most attractive teams to play, but think about how many teams we've seen come up from the Championship. No disrespect to even Sheffield United, they've had a wonderful season. They've done it slightly differently, but being robust defensively, hold you in good stead in the Championship. And if you look at Burnley, who came up, Stoke for all those years, you can really get a long way by being solid at the back. And then obviously taking a chance. Talk about taking a chance. This big one here for Mo Salah, clean through. A great block, I think, there from combination of Tierney and David Luiz. And yeah, big chance there for Liverpool right on half-time. It was a sloppy giveaway. Rob Holding caught in possession. Fabinho stepped in really well. Firmino played to Salah. And then Arsenal snuffed out the chance. So still 1-1. Couple of minutes to go to half-time. And I don't quite know how Liverpool aren't ahead. They haven't exactly been ripping Arsenal to shreds, but they've had a lot of the play. Mikel Arteta's Arsenal have just been very keen to sit back and not let Liverpool get in behind on the counter. So that's the game plan. It's working all right, but not too bad. Oh, well, Darryl Williams is very big on Wickham and wants me to eat that tree. Giovanni Galva says, how well has Arsenal been how well has Arteta been for Arsenal since he's arrived? Giovanni, I think he's done a great job, all things considered. I think that Arsenal were in a really bad place under Unai Emery in terms of the players not believing in the philosophy. They were playing a style of football that they weren't enjoying. I don't think they had the right players to play that way. It's still a lot of work. Oh, hello, Arsenal got the ball. Bad giveaway by Alisson. 2-1. Another horrendous defensive mistake by Liverpool. And then what I was about to say is Arteta has Arsenal playing in a way where they are more robust, they seem slightly more clinical and more solid. And now, right on the stroke of half-time, and a live look at Jurgen Klopp, they've gone to him on the sidelines, and this is his expression. He looks like a koala bear ready for some leaves to eat, which is very apt, given our previous conversation. He cannot believe this mistake. Alisson, huge giveaway in the left-back area, played the ball out. Arsenal nipped in, and Joe Willock curled home a wonderful finish. Still had a lot to do, to be honest. He was under pressure, but found the far corner. And that is now two huge mistakes from Virgil van Dijk and Alisson after Liverpool were 1-0 up. So now they're losing 2-1 with a minute to go of the first half. And Reece Nelson has his first Premier League goal of the season. And Arsenal fans, Liverpool fans, love to hear your thoughts on the first half, because Arsenal fans, I'm sure you'll take the 2-1 win, but obviously lead and a win if it does lead to that. But not sure you deserve to be 2-1 up, but this would be a massive win. Liverpool, you're just giving goals away at the moment. Obviously against Burnley, the draw last time out, as I said, draw against Everton, heavy defeat at Man City. Is it worrying, Liverpool fans, these results, and not just the results, but the performances? Because if I look at the Man City game, that was a weird one. Man City almost scored of every attack they had. Liverpool had a lot of attacks, but weren't clinical enough. But is this going to have an impact on next season? There's such a short space of time, though, isn't there? I think it's going to be, roughly 6-7 weeks between when this season will end, or Arsenal on the attack again. Oh, and Bukayo Saka drags another effort wide. Offside, though. Offside flag was up. But again, too easy for Arsenal to get in there. But Liverpool fans, what do you think about this? Vinny says, how's Arsenal winning? Agree with you there. Motivation. Jackson says, as a fan of both Arsenal and Bournemouth, this is a surprise. Agree with that. And Giovanni Galva says, Liverpool should just play the reserves at this point. They are already on vacation. I think there's an argument for that. It's playing some players who are young and hungry and want to maybe stake a claim for next season. If Klopp and Liverpool aren't serious about setting the points record and, beating Man City's incredible 2017-18 season, then surely they should have one eye on next season and not worry about Arteta, Salah. Sorry, Arteta was giving the ball there, so that's why I said that. Salah, Mane, and Firmino getting injured. I mean, I don't know why you would really risk that at this stage of the season if you don't care about the records. If you care about the records, play your full-strength team like you are today. But Arsenal winning 2-1, and they made 5 changes from the weekend. Aubameyang sat on the bench, got a lot of big injuries. And yeah, this is a big positive if you're Arsenal, because they withstood some pressure from Liverpool. As I said, haven't been ripped apart on the counter. Tactically, that's been a good plan, even though they haven't had a lot of the ball. And yeah, we're coming towards half time here, so very interesting. Daryl says Klopp's halftime speech is going to be epic. Daryl, I think he's probably going to get the hairdryer out, Sir Alex Ferguson style at this point. They just had a shot of Klopp here on the screen, and he was sat down in his seat, arms crossed. Did not look pleased, let's just say that. And how often can we say that about Jurgen Klopp for the most part? So, yeah, Diego says play Harvey Elliott and Curtis Jones. Charlie Reynolds says Arsenal are doing awesome tonight. And Colin Sapela says players have lost focus, especially at wing backs. Robbo and Trent Alexander-Arnold acting as if they are wingers and have been dreadful since securing a title. Good points there, Colin. I actually agree with that wholeheartedly. I think Liverpool have been at such a high level all season that they let their level drop for just a couple of percentage points, and maybe a 6 or 7 out of 10 rather than an 8 or 9. These are the kind of performances they're putting out. So, yeah, really interesting to see what else you think for the second half, guys. But this is going to be interesting. This is going to be really interesting because now we're going to see if Liverpool really want this record points tally and winning margin. Because Arsenal are leading at 2-1 against Liverpool at home. Really Liverpool should be head and shoulders above them and way out ahead considering the chances they've had. So, yeah, I'm going to go and refresh my beer. I hope you guys do the same or have a snack. I'll let you chat amongst yourself in the comments section. And I'll join you all for the second half very soon indeed. All right, guys, I'm back. Everyone hear me okay? Hope you can. Let's see what comments you have in the comments section here, because really interested to hear your thoughts on that crazy first half, really. I have no idea. "3-1 Arsenal," Jackson thinks. You can hear me? That's good. That's always good. Okay. So the current situation in the table in the Premier League, if the score stays like it is right now, and Arsenal win 2-1, is they obviously move up to 8th place, which doesn't seem like it's going to get them a Europa League spot at this point. But sorry, they move up to 9th, and then they would only be 3 points off 6th place, which would be Europa League. So to wrap up sort of the Europa League section of the table, Wolves are in 6th on 56 points. Tottenham are 7th on 55 points. Sheffield United are 8th on 54 points. Arsenal are 9th on 53 points. And then Burnley are 10th on 51 points. So Arsenal, if they can hold on to this lead against Liverpool, then that would be something monumental, really, for them to have Europa League action for next season. And it really would be a massive win, wouldn't it, for Arteta after resting that many players? Because don't forget, Aubameyang and others are on the bench. Daryl Williams thinks that Liverpool will come back in the second half and that Arsenal make some errors. Are Arsenal going to fight for a European spot, Giovanni Galba? So the current situation is that 6th is a Europa League spot. 7th is likely to be because the last 4 teams left in the FA Cup, and the spot that gets is obviously Man City, Arsenal, Chelsea, Man United. So they're all likely to qualify through the league for the Europa League, it looks like. So basically, if Arsenal don't win the FA Cup, then they'll have to try and get into 7th place in the league to qualify for the Europa League qualifying stages. It was going to go down to 8th place with Man City's situation with the UEFA ban, but that's obviously been overturned now. So there's a UEFA ruling that no more than 7 teams are allowed from one league into European competitions each year. So even if, there's a situation where, let's say Chelsea drop to 8th place and they win the Champions League, which both seem very unlikely. I don't even know if they can drop to 8th place mathematically. But if that happens, then a team that's actually finished in 4th, be it Man United or Leicester, if Chelsea don't finish there, or Wolves, they would drop out of the Champions League and Chelsea would take their place as Champions League winners. So there is a cap on that. I know that's very complicated, and that's just the way UEFA and Champions League, Europa League qualification seems to be. So, yeah, very interesting. So what are our score? Okay, before we do score predictions, I want to know where you're watching from in the world. To wrap up before, we had, I think, Nepal, all over the US. We had Ethiopia, Switzerland. So let me know what Hogwarts. We had Hogwarts. Somebody there is working on their witchcraft and wizardry. For any big Harry Potter fans out there. And yeah, be interesting to see where you're watching from in the USA or across the world as we gear up for this second half for Arsenal against Liverpool. And of course, if you're just joining us, I'm Joe Prince-Wright, the lead writer editor at NBCSports.com, Pro Soccer Talk. So you can go there for all the latest news, analysis, reaction, videos, all our online shows, anything you want, live streams. We got you covered when it comes to the Premier League, Champions League, and Pro Soccer. Anything to do with it, that's why we call Pro Soccer Talk. So delighted to be joining you today. As I said before, the idea of these watch-alongs is to have a beer, a chat, some snacks, which I have a lot of, watch the game together, because right now we can't be together physically, a lot of us in the world, with the current situation with the COVID-19 pandemic. So let's watch the game, enjoy it, and I'm here to answer any questions you have on Arsenal, Liverpool, any Premier League teams. Christian Pulisic is a big topic of discussion, I know, and anything else you really want. Okay, Colin Sapila is in Atlanta. Hi, Colin. Diego Nunes in California. Jesus Diaz in Mexico. Asad Amin is in Atlanta, Georgia. We've got Washington, D.C. in the house. Gainesville, Washington, D.C., St. Louis, New York, Miami. Cool. We've got some comments here from you guys. Colin saying Steven Gerrard should be the Liverpool manager after Klopp. Who do you guys think should be the next Liverpool manager? I'm not really giving that too much thought because Klopp has been doing so well, but he said that he's not really going to stick around forever somewhere, right? So we'll be interesting to see what direction they go in. Certainly no one knows Liverpool better than Steven Gerrard, the boyhood fan, captain, fantastic, Champions League winner. I'm not going to bring up the slip, I just did, but I'm not going to bring it up in the Premier League title. So yeah, that's an interesting choice, especially since he's done such a good job at Glasgow Rangers. Manola says, do I think United will finish in the top 4? Yes, but it's going to go down to that final game of the season against Leicester. But I think Man United, even though they had some defensive slip-ups in their most recent games, I think that they have just enough going forward with Greenwood, Rashford, Fernandes, Pogba, Martial. Yeah, it's ridiculous when you say that like that. With those guys, I think they have enough to get over the line, you know. So I would go for Man United and Chelsea to finish in the top 4. I think Leicester are going to miss out. Okay, we've got Australia in the house. Max Bale. Thanks for joining us, Max. Noah Samuels in Utah. Roger Timms in Chicago. John Marquesne in New Jersey. Hopefully I haven't butchered your last name there, John. Oleg Sheklarevsky in Chicago. Likewise, hopefully I haven't got that wrong. Tommy Guntley in St. Louis. PCJ in Sweden. Steady Torchman in Kansas City, Kansas. Ian Gargle from Louisville, Kentucky. Nick Barracat, Norwich, Connecticut. Hope you're not a Norwich City fan, Nick. If you are, commiserations on relegation. There's always next season. Thomas Morgan, Albany, New York. We have to talk about Aston Villa. We talked about the relegation scrap in the first part, or during the first half. And Thomas, I said Villa will stay up. I think it's going to go down to needing a win at West Ham on the opening day of the season. So opening day? Final day of the season. I think they're going to do it. I think they're going to do it. I think they're going to get someone at Everton. I'd be positive. And Josh Norris, who's a good friend, and for everyone who watches NBC Sports' Rotor World, is a big American football analyst and a big Aston Villa fan. So surprised I haven't seen Josh pop up in the comment section yet today. I'm sure he will at some point. But he's a huge Aston Villa fan. And I think that win against Crystal Palace just gave Villa fans the belief that they can shut teams down. Defensively, they can improve. Because going forward, as long as they have Jack Grealish and Tyrone Mings to pop up with a set-piece goal, or John McGinn, Al Ghazi, obviously Trezeguet came up big against Palace, then they have a few attacking options, don't they, to keep them up. But second half is underway at the Emirates Stadium in North London, and it starts with a scything tackle from Lucas Torreira on Joe Gomez, and he's been booked for his troubles. What's that? 24 seconds into the second half. and Arsenal picked up a yellow card. So Lucas Torreira might be surprised if he lasts this game, either from being subbed out early in the second half or getting sent off, because he's a feisty character, the Uruguayan midfielder. Like him a lot. He's been out of an injury, obviously hurt his ankle in the FA Cup against Portsmouth earlier this season. So good to see him back out on the pitch. And good to see a lot of these Arsenal players now, because Arsenal fans, who would you like to see Mikel Arteta sign? What player, what position, or what player in particular? Because it doesn't seem like there's an awful lot of money at the club. Aubameyang, Lacazette, their futures are up in the air. What would you like to see? Could we be looking at loan deals, swap deals? On NBC Sports today, we had something about Samuel Umtiti being linked to a loan move from Barcelona. Personally, I think that's worth the gamble. I'm saying it's a gamble because he's been injured a lot for Barca. If he hadn't been injured a lot, he's a very good player and will be playing for Barcelona week in, week out. So Arsenal fans, which players would you like to see arrive at Arsenal this summer? Nick says they need a solid midfielder. Giovanni said without European play, they're limited. Yeah, without Champions League, very limited. I do wonder as well, if there's a difference between qualifying for the Europa League. Do you really want to qualify for that? If you're Tottenham, if you're Arsenal, rebuilding under Arteta and Mourinho, is it almost better to say, you know what, Wolves, Sheffield United, maybe even Burnley, you guys go on ahead and play in the Europa League, and we're going to focus on training, having less games, building the shape of a team and personality and tactics of a team. I would argue that that'd be better to do, but I spoke to Mourinho after the win against Arsenal the weekend, and he said, you know, I don't love the Europa League. And I said, why? Like, what is, because he wants to be in it. And I said, well, why, if you don't love it, why do you want to be in it? And his argument was along the lines of, well, I've won the Europa League twice. I played it with Porto, and Man United won it twice. So why not play in it 3 times and win it 3 times? So just a little nudge there from Mourinho to remind us, you know, I won the Europa League twice already. And yeah, I think that for Tottenham, I wouldn't be too worried about the Europa League. I know they won again at Newcastle today, but I wouldn't be too focused if I was them on this Europa League situation. So yeah, I don't really see why you would need to focus if you're them. But yeah, let me know what you think about the Europa League in the comments section. 50 minutes gone in Arsenal against Liverpool. Arsenal leading 2-1. Oh, good chance for Liverpool. Alexander-Arnold squared it, comes back to Robertson. Arsenal chucking all kinds of bodies in the way. Massive scramble. Somehow Luiz clears. Big chance there for Liverpool. Wow. That was unreal. So we had chances for Robertson, Salah, Alexander-Arnold. Arsenal somehow scrambled it clear. Cross comes in from the corner. It's cleared again by Arsenal. Liverpool will just be struggling to see how they are not at least level in this game. This has been a crazy game. Sure, Arsenal fans are pulling your hair out here. So a lot of people are saying that Arsenal needs solid defenders. Should try and buy a young, promising centre-back. William Saliba's coming in. So that's going to be interesting, I think, to see how he does. Upamecano. Isco, a centre-back. Solid midfielder, solid centre-backs. Thomas Partey. Yeah. Cecilia, I think that'd be a great shout as a holder midfielder. That's always been as good as Ceballos and Granit Xhaka have been in that partnership in the holding midfield role there, I don't trust them too much defensively. So I've been calling for Arsenal to get a holding midfielder for a long, long time here. Another chance for Liverpool. Mane arrives on the edge of the box. Bit of a effort when he was off balance, and David Luiz deflects it behind for yet another Liverpool corner. My goodness. So wave after wave, Liverpool attack at the start of the second half. So whatever Jurgen Klopp said to them, it's working. But obviously, this is what happened in the first half as well. And then they gave away 2 goals straight to Arsenal. So recapping what happened, if you didn't see it, as we watch along together and watch Arsenal against Liverpool. As Oxlade-Chamberlain whips in the cross in, and Martinez catches it very simply and with ease. Liverpool went 1-0 up. Mane tapped home after a lovely move down the left that saw Robertson set him up. And then Liverpool kind of hit the self-implosion button. Van Dijk, short back pass, was complaining about being pulled and tugged by Willock, but Lacazette nipped in, made it 1-1. And then the next mistake come from Alisson. Again, another character you would not expect to make that kind of mistake. Gave it away. Willock had a lot to do, but controlled it well and put it in the bottom corner. And Arsenal led 2-1 at half-time, which was against all the odds, really. SC Carreta says a lot of teams need defenders right now, Chelsea and Arsenal especially. Agree with that. I chuck Man City into that as well. I still think they need another centre-back, and Mendy's been okay. He's got a little bit better, but I still think they probably need full-backs as well. So now that they're in the Champions League for next season and beyond, you can see that cash being spent on some good defensive additions. And Fernandinho, bless him, he can't go on forever. So I think that we'll see some upgrades there for Man City. Okay, so this brings us nicely on to my next question. This is one that FC Carreta's brought up as well. With a subpar return for Liverpool since the restart, what needs to happen for Liverpool to retain the title next season? What do you guys think is the biggest problem for Liverpool and Jurgen Klopp? Because there have been problems. We've seen it throughout this season. They've managed to get over the line, obviously end that 30-year wait for a league title, which nobody's disputing how great of a season they've had. But there are a lot of one-goal wins, a lot of tight games. In another season, they could have drawn a lot of games. As I say that, nearly went level in this game and on their way to drawing it. Great ball by Alexander-Arnold on the right wing-back position after Van Dijk pinged a lovely diagonal across. Mo Salah was waiting there at the edge of the 6-yard box, twist and turn, stuck David Luiz on his backside, and then clipped the ball towards the top corner, maybe going just over, but Martinez wasn't taking any chances and pushed it just over. So, again, another Liverpool attack here. So, looking at it from this, maybe there is an awful lot that they need to improve on for next season, but Robertson just shanked a shot over. But what do you guys think they need for next season? I'll let you know what I think, but I want to hear what you think about this. Liverpool needs Mourinho, says Mary. Not sure about that. Not sure about that at all. No, I'm not going to get into that. I think it's just trying to bait me here because there's no way Liverpool would have Mourinho as their manager. I'm sorry. Thomas Morgan said, I think they're actually worse than last season, to be honest. Not bad. Similar. I think they're more clinical this season. Maybe not as easy on the eye as they were the season before when they're scoring lots of goals, still being a bit cavalier. But this season they're kind of just playing within themselves, and getting over the line 1-0, 2-1 wins. But as we saw last time out against Burnley, Drew could have lost that game late on, losing 2-1 here today. Drew against Everton could have lost that game late on there. Calvert-Lewin and Davis having chances. So it's difficult now to make an overriding judgment of Liverpool in this restart phase because there was so much focus on them during the pandemic and sort of the big months of that in the UK. Was the season going to finish? Was the season going to be null and void? Obviously, Liverpool delighted it wasn't. They won the title, deserved winners. I think we can all hand on heart admit that. It's been wonderful to see their progress under Jurgen Klopp. But that next part now, how do they go from being Champions League winners and Premier League winners to doing that season after season after season and becoming a dynasty? Oh, good news for Liverpool fans, not. Aubameyang's coming off the bench, 35 minutes to go. Aubameyang and Ceballos. So Arteta's bringing on his 2 starting players that he's obviously rested for the FA Cup semi-final at the weekend. Joe Willock is coming on as well. Lucas Torreira, as we expected, has come off. So yeah, some good young performances today. Joe Willock, Reece Nelson, very similar players. Willock's coming on. Reece Nelson obviously scored one and got the chance for the other. Created that opportunity. Lacazette's coming off. Torreira's coming off, obviously. Aubameyang's coming on. He's got the captain's armband. Willock's coming on for Nelson. Nelson's had a good display, I'd say. So yeah, triple sub for Arsenal. Give them a bit of energy and maybe a bit more impetus going forward, because although the forward players have worked hard, haven't had a lot of the ball, just the way that they set up Arsenal, sitting deep, Liverpool having a lot of possession, but it's a pretty smart thing to do against Liverpool. We all know how good they are on the counter and in behind, so I haven't given them a lot to work with, have they, down the flanks. So Colin wants some fresh faces to bring competition in the squad and a resurgence in hunger for title. Hopefully this spell shows we are not unbeatable and they have to raise the bar. Yeah, you're right, Colin. This might not be the worst thing in the world, right? For Klopp to see some of the players. He's probably learned quite a lot about some of these players in the last few weeks. Who's taken their foot off the gas a little bit, who's maybe had a few too many of these to celebrate the title. You can't blame him for celebrating the title, but mentality-wise, I think it's going to be interesting when we always sort of talk about the great teams in world football, Barcelona's under Guardiola, United under Ferguson, obviously the great Liverpool teams in the past, Arsenal teams under Arsene Wenger. What separates them is that hunger and drive, not to just want to win one title. It's to go on and win back-to-back, to win multiple trophies every season. And of course, Liverpool won the Champions League last season, won the Premier League this season, but haven't won Super Cup. Of course, we can probably count that. But yeah, I'm talking about the major titles. Haven't strung consistency together where they've been great across all competitions throughout the last few seasons. So some very good points here on Liverpool. FC Careta says, definitely squad depth. The last 2 seasons, they've been lucky on the injury front, and they don't really have any backup attackers if a major injury strikes Salah or Mane. Again, great point. You Liverpool fans, kind of know what you're talking about. As they whip in a ball and Wijnaldum gets forward, heads it just over the bar. So again, another Liverpool attack. But yeah, talking about that depth, I think when you do look at Liverpool bench, a lot of young players there, and that's what I hinted to earlier. I think with the question about, for Klopp, does he need to bring in Kai Havertz and Jadon Sancho and players like that? Minamino's coming on for Liverpool right now, and those are the kind of signings. Minamino's come in, fairly small transfer fee, around 10, 11 million euros. I don't think Liverpool are going to want to really break the bank too much, and they want to bring in through these young players, Neco Williams, as I said, Curtis Jones, Harvey Elliott, Van der Berg. A lot of good young players there, and I think Klopp's trying to build something, and that's why he played them in the FA Cup and the League Cup, and gave them all that experience. You don't just do that, big teams play a lot of youngsters in cup competitions, obviously, but this was a pretty clear stance from Klopp even last week against Burnley, with Williams and Curtis Jones getting the start. They believe in him. Klopp's talk about having a team full of Scousers. I'm not sure if we'll get to that level. But I see Liverpool playing a lot of young players before they bring in other players. But Thiago's needed in midfield. I think that's some depth. And Keita and Minamino are coming in now. off the bench. You can see Williams, Jones, and Harvey Elliott sat there in the stands, looking on a bit enviously. I'm sure they wish they'd rather get out there and try and add a bit more. Okay, Thomas Morgan. I think Keita adds a different dimension to the midfield and gives them more creativity and makes them able to win games in different ways. I like him. I asked Klopp about him recently, and he said, obviously, if Naby Keita is fit, he gives us energy, quality on the ball. Set up the goal, didn't he, for Mane against Burnley? It's just a shame that he's been injured so much. Ever since he turned up from Leipzig, he's just been injured. So, well, not the whole time, but consistently, just picking up, 8-10 games, and then he's missing for a couple of months and so on and so forth. So definitely think that he needs a good run of games. But if Thiago's coming in this summer, don't think that's good news for Naby Keita. Not the same type of players. He's slightly more attacking, obviously. But I don't know if Henderson, Wijnaldum, maybe that means Wijnaldum's future. Obviously hasn't agreed a new contract. Maybe that's not looking great. But Oxlade-Chamberlain, Fabinho is kind of there as the holder. He's probably out of the three central midfielders, the one player you would say his position's set. Henderson as well, the way he's played. But obviously he's pushing towards the later stages of his career. So be interesting to see how that goes. Okay, chance for Minamino here. Just on as a sub. And the Japanese international just drags one across goal. Decent chance. Mane played it in. Good movement. Got off the Arsenal defenders and just dragged it wide of Martinez's far post. Never really in danger of going in, but a good sign of intent from the former RB Salzburg winner. Well, so many questions in this. Sam Cox says, what are the chances that Klopp stays beyond 2025, closer to 2030 or 2035? Whoa. 2020's been long enough. I can't think about 5, 10 years, 15 years from now. I would say I don't see him being there to 2035. Even 2030 is a push at this point. I don't think Klopp is really what he's already said. He's not one of these managers who's going to be at one team for 20, 30 years. I think he likes to, be reinvigorated, have fresh challenges. I don't think I can really see him staying past 2025, if I'm honest. So he said, I haven't thought a lot about who the next manager is going to be yet. But Liverpool should probably have that in mind when they think about who's going to replace Klopp, be it Steven Gerrard and the great work he's doing at Glasgow Rangers, or are they going to go for a manager that clearly has that philosophy? Ralph Hasenhüttl is the Klopp of the Alps, as is nicknamed. He did his coaching badges with Jurgen Klopp. He's doing a great job at Southampton with that high pressing game. Did it at Leipzig as well. So maybe in the comments. We had it earlier, Mourinho to replace Klopp. I don't think that's going to happen, but which manager would Liverpool fans, I know you don't want to think about it, but when push comes to shove, if you've got your crystal ball there and you're predicting which managers are going to come in for Klopp, who would you like to see come in? Because I think there's a difference between a big name manager you would like to see come in and the right manager for this group of players and to carry on the work that Klopp has done. Because we've seen at Man United after Fergie, tried it with Moyes, Van Gaal, Mourinho, now Solskjaer, all very different coaching styles and philosophies from a playing perspective. And I think you need to have that clear path. Same for Man City as well. After Pep, there was some transition there for Pellegrini and the way his teams played. And then to Guardiola, it was almost preparing the players for that style of play. But yeah, interested to see what you thought. Zidane for Klopp, says Diego. Is Sadio Mane leaving? Don't think so, but Real Madrid, they come calling. Who knows? Abanev Gupta says, who's my favourite player? I have too many players. I watch too much football. And that is me firmly perching myself on that fence. Ronaldo, Messi, Hazard, Pulisic, Salah, Mane, Firmino, De Bruyne, Kane, Son, Aubameyang. I love them all. It's I can't say. Oh, good shout here by Nick Badakat. Julian Nagelsmann for Klopp. That would be a good one. That would fit in with the philosophy, right? That is a really good, really good choice there. Because Nagelsmann, the work that he's done at Hoffenheim and now Leipzig, young, German, kind of gone to the Klopp school of coaching. We talk about Arteta at Arsenal. He's obviously a disciple of Guardiola. And in Klopp now you have Hasenhüttl, Nagelsmann, a lot of coaches now with the high pressing style. As Mane works his way into the box, Alexander-Arnold on the edge, plays it wide back to Mane, clips it across, Arsenal half clear, Van Dijk, it's bounced to Minamino, and he was offside, it looks like. Yet another moment where Arsenal are just chucking bodies in front of the goal. Jurgen Klopp can't believe it. He's waving his arms in the air like he just doesn't care. Minamino wasn't offside. Which is an interesting decision because Kieran Tierney looked like he was keeping him onside, dragged him back when he was 7 yards from goal. And surely that should be a penalty kick. If it wasn't offside and VAR, I guess they can't rule in that situation, but a big let-off there for Arsenal, because if that play would have been allowed to play out, then it looked like that could have been obviously a clear goal-scoring opportunity there. Wow. Big let-off there for Arsenal. It's all Liverpool in the second half. Okay. Is that a pen for me? Bulldog 23. Yeah, I think that's a pen. But obviously the flag's gone up by the looks of it. So they can't actually pull it back once the decision has been made like that, because the player's then dead. So anything that happens after the flag has gone up doesn't matter. So that's the frustrating thing about VAR. Really, in that situation, you should be able to go back and say, he wasn't offside, he was clean through on goal and got dragged back 6 yards out. So a let-off there for Arsenal. Diego Nunes makes a very good point when we talk about Liverpool here in the second half. It's hard for Liverpool to bring in players because no one wants to sit on the bench. Yeah, like look at Naby Keita, look at Shaqiri, look at Origi. Like we said earlier, Liverpool, they don't have many attacking options, but which players are going to go there to play, maybe start 15 games a season? Origi's happy with that, comes on, does well, plays a lot in cup competitions, but Shaqiri's been injured, but probably would have played a little bit more as well. Yeah, very interesting. Okay, so we talked a lot about Liverpool there. Arsenal, obviously 20 minutes to go, Arsenal fans. You're 2-1 up against Liverpool. Looking like you're going to be well in the hunt to finish in 6th place. So what are your Arsenal predictions for next season? Top 4, yes or no? Do you think Arteta's moving things in the right direction? Personally, I think they're in the right direction. I think they would need at least 3 or 4 new players defensively in midfield and at the back to mount a serious top 4 charge. But I think Arteta's done a great job defensively with the work he's doing with the team overall. But the mistakes, the individual errors they keep making, it's just showing that these players, the personnel he has, he's kind of getting the maximum out of them, you know. I don't think he can do much more with what he has. So, yeah, Arsenal fans, what do you think? Top 4, is that doable next season? Is that maybe one season too early? Because when we think about Liverpool, Klopp was obviously there for quite a while before they finished in the top 4. Had a whole, season or so, obviously the Europa League final in his first season, League Cup. Mane's on the attack, comes back to Robertson, Ceballos tackles in, and Arsenal can finally break free and have a little bit of the ball. But Pepe's on now, he's just flicking the ball around. Arsenal knocking the ball around at the back, trying to keep it away from Liverpool, but not a lot of options there. Liverpool pressing so high, so much energy, but for all that energy and possession and chances they had, it's Arsenal that's leading 2-1 with just under 20 minutes to go now. DJ Mickey's Entertainment says hi. Hello, DJ. Phil says the goal for Arsenal is a top 4, and he's cautiously optimistic. Yeah, I would be as well. I think, Arsenal fans heading into next season, obviously it's coming up really quickly now with this shortened break over the summer. I think that works out well for you. Maybe not in terms of signing players because it'll be tough, but I think you got a lot of momentum going in. FA Cup semi-final. As we see, it's the water break now. We got a shot over North London with the skyscrapers lit up, and then we panned from the Emirates Stadium over to Highbury, which is now some luxury apartments, the old Arsenal Stadium, but the main stand is still in place there. It's a listed building in England, so you can almost see the outline of the stand, the entrance, but now there's Dave and Sheila having their dinner, sat in their apartment in North London on a Wednesday night. Some nice rooftop terrace areas there as well. Be interested one day, maybe. That would be pretty cool, right? To live in Arsenal's old stadium and call that home. So Arsenal fans are saying top 4 is a possibility. You think they'll be better than Man United and Tottenham, Phil? And then you say, I really hope. So you've gone from being, you'll at least be better than them to, I really hope. I'm going to let you have this argument with yourself in the comments, but it's close. It's getting closer. The gap has to be closed. Obviously, Liverpool and Man City are so far ahead of everyone else. Hence why we have such a good battle for the top 4 and the remaining 2 places there. But I like what I'm seeing from Arsenal. I really do. So we're in the water break at the moment, which means snacks. So let me know if you guys are having a drink or having any snacks wherever you are. I know you're in different parts of the world, so it could be eating all kinds of different delicacies. And some chip and bean dip. And a beer to wash it down. Back underway after the drinks break. Robertson smashes it forward, nothing's doing, and Arsenal have the ball again, but haven't really been able to say that too much, right? Especially in the second half. Luis just lumped the ball forward, and we've hardly said Aubameyang's name. Been on the pitch now 15, 20 minutes. He's hardly touched the ball. So if we look at some of the stats from this game, it's been, just to sort of sum up how dominant Liverpool have been, 67.6% possession, which Liverpool don't. They have a lot of possession, of course. They grind teams down, but they're used to playing on the counter, but that hasn't been the case in this game at all. Arsenal playing really well, just sitting back and letting Liverpool obviously make their own mistakes. That's how they got their first 2 goals. There were only 2 goals. And it's working a treat so far. Liverpool had 18 shots to Arsenal's 2. Arsenal had 2 on target, scored both. Clinical, I think that's what we can call that. And Arteta's been talking about that a lot in some of the post-game Zoom calls we've had of him on NBC Sports. He said on that killer edge, we played against Southampton, I think it was, Wolves, even against Tottenham the other day, had a lot of chances and just not finishing teams off. Liverpool came close again then, ball whipped into the back stick. Virgil van Dijk rose highest and nodded just wide, but Xhaka did enough to put him off. But yeah, key passes today. Liverpool have had 14, Arsenal have had 1, reading some of the stats out. Recoveries, though, Arsenal have had 50, Liverpool had 48. That's quite surprising. That shows you how much, not better, but how much more improved I think Arsenal are in recovering the ball and snapping into the tackles. And yeah, a lot of blocks. 16 clearances from Arsenal to Liverpool's 4. 9 headed clearances to 0 for Liverpool to Arsenal. 7 blocks to Arsenal with none for Liverpool. And Martinez has made 5 saves. So, yeah, pretty dominant display from Liverpool. But when you look at the scoreline, that's the only one that matters, right? It's the only stat that matters. I'm sure Arsenal fans are screaming at me now saying that. So the score, with 15 minutes to go at the Emirates Stadium, Arsenal 2, Liverpool 1. And of course, this would only be the 3rd defeat of Liverpool's season if the result and the score stands. Lost to Watford in shock fashion, hammered by Man City the last time we did one of these watch-alongs. And now they're losing 2-1 against Arsenal. Oh, looks like it could be another defensive mistake from Alisson, but Pepe nearly nips in. Obviously, it's something that Arsenal worked on to try and put Alisson and the centre-backs for Liverpool under pressure, because it nearly nipped in Pepe again there. Alisson flicked the ball up and just about got it away from danger. Looked cool as a cucumber in the end, but not a good day for Alisson. Xhaka's gone down with an injury for Arsenal. That could be his day over. And yeah. So Arsenal fans, should Aubameyang and Lacazette stay? A lot of talk about their future. A lot of talk about Aubameyang signing a new contract. Is he going to do it? Arteta loves him. He's been in great form, right up there in the Golden Boot race. But do you think they should stay, or do you think now is the right time to sell Aubameyang and Lacazette and invest in younger players, or invest in new defensive players, or Thomas Partey in midfield? Do you think that'd be better when you have the likes of Nketiah, Sakho, Pepe, and other young attackers around? Interested to see what you think. Phil's saying keep Ober at all costs, and I still like Laka. Yeah, I agree with that. I think Aubameyang's such a quality player that he could play for another 4 or 5 years in the Premier League and score 20 goals a season at least. So I don't know why you'd want to get rid of him. But maybe if you sell him, that just links up nicely with the next question. SC Careta says, does Danny Ings move this summer? Where would he go? As someone from Southampton, it's good to see them doing well, obviously, and Danny Ings is a Southampton lad as well. So wouldn't be great for Saints if he moved on, but someone like, Arsenal, or trying to think where else he'd fit. Maybe just Arsenal out of sort of the traditional big 6, top 6 teams. If you did get rid of Aubameyang and Lacazette, bringing in Danny Ings would make good sense. But I think he's kind of thriving off of being the main man at a club. The way he plays for Hasenhüttl, gets a lot of chances, scores a lot of goals, presses high, gets the best out of him. So I think he's in a good spot, but maybe that's with my Southampton cap on. Okay, so Liverpool fans, this question is maybe focused at you, but it's focused at everyone, really. Do you think you'll win the Premier League title next season? And who does everyone think will win the Premier League next season? Simple question. Who do you think is going to win the Premier League next season? Because, it starts in a few weeks now, so it'd be interesting to see what you think. As we get towards Alexander-Arnold, whips one in. Kieran Tierney nods it wide. Offside, Alexander-Arnold. He's not happy with the line for that. Jurgen Klopp's not happy. And Liverpool, in general, are not happy. They're 2-1 down, 10 minutes to go at Arsenal. Looking towards the subs bench. Doesn't look like they're going to make any more subs right now. So I say that. Shaqiri's coming on. Good timing. Diego thinks Sheffield United will win the Premier League season. And the award for the best comment of the day goes to Diego. Would love to see that happen. Would love to see Chrissy Wilder leading the celebrations around England. Would probably run around Sheffield and the whole of England with the Premier League trophy if that happened. Can't see it happening. Would love it to happen. Bulldogs 23 says Nottingham Forest are going to win the playoff in the Championship and then shock everyone next year. Wow, really? Some Brian Clough stuff right there, with Nottingham Forest and Derby going up from the second tier and winning the Premier League or English League title. Can't see that happening. M. Johan says Manchester United. Certainly further along than I thought they would be. And I think when we look back at this season, we'll see as long as they finish in the top 4, I think this will be a very successful season for Man United because they have shored things up defensively. With Maguire, Wan-Bissaka, De Gea has been all right at his moments. Luke Shaw's been better because he's been fit. So I think as long as United can stay solid defensively, they might be title contenders, but I still think maybe a season too early. Maybe not to get ahead of themselves. Arsenal get another block in, and Martinez picks up the ball there. And Arsenal got to hold on for another 8.5 minutes for what would be a massive victory against Liverpool, all things considered, that they rested, made 5 changes, rested a lot of big players and Ceballos and Aubameyang ahead of their FA Cup semi-final against Man City the weekend. Angelos says with City's form, if they tighten up defensively, they can take it back, especially if Liverpool's form stays like this. And Angelos is a Liverpool fan, so it's pretty admirable there for Liverpool. As Liverpool bring on Divock Origi and Shaqiri. And I think that's kind of summing up what you guys were saying earlier, the depth in the attack. If Man City have a few injuries, they still have Gabriel Jesus to replace Aguero. They have Bernardo Silva, Raheem Sterling, De Bruyne, Foden, Mahrez, list goes on and on. And now that they're in the Champions League, a lot of those players are obviously going to stay. They could spend a lot more money than they thought they maybe would have been able to. So I think Man City obviously have better options, but very well said, Angelos. If they do tighten up defensively and get in, that centre-back, be it Kalidou Koulibaly or other players they're being linked with, and then maybe another holding midfield player. I don't know. They need that. They really missed Company, really missed Laporte for most of this season. So as long as they can get one solid centre-back in and just stay fit and be lucky with injuries, I think for me, Man City aren't the favourites, but it's them and Liverpool again. And what about Chelsea? I mean, Pulisic, we haven't spoken much about Christian Pulisic, the American boy wonder today, but I know we spoke about him earlier, but how close are they to a title push? How close are they to a title challenge? Interested to hear your thoughts on that, because I don't think they're that far away, especially going forward. And with Werner, Hakim Ziyech coming in, maybe Havertz. And again, like Man City, they just have to get better defensively, and then they can maybe do a little bit better than this top 4. And that's what James Reacher kind of said. Chelsea might win the league if Werner finds his feet. A really interesting stat I come across, doing some research during the break in the Premier League. So Chelsea actually created the second highest number of goal-scoring chances after Manchester City in the Premier League this year. So that shows me they're putting chances on the plate for Abraham, Giroud, Mason Mount, others, Pulisic. I just think they're nowhere near as clinical as they should be. So even if they're bad at the back, they should be scoring 3 or 4 goals a game, but they're not. So if they can get it right, and Werner, obviously, what he's done at Leipzig in the Champions League and Bundesliga, clinical, properly clinical. And he's even guilty of missing a few chances himself. So that shows you his potential. So, yeah, Chelsea, as I said, are right up there with Liverpool, Man City for me next season. And I think that group of probably Man United, I think that's the undisputed top 4. And then there's that little subgroup, right? Tottenham, Wolves, Arsenal, Leicester, and then maybe chuck Sheffield United in there as, top 4 contenders, but not title contenders yet. So that'd be how I classify it. Yeah, really good comments there. I like that, chat. That was great. Jonathan says, yeah, Chelsea have to fix the defence. Oh, Arsenal have to fix their defence as well, because even though there's 2-1 up, there's been so many chances for Liverpool today. This has been more about Liverpool being bit slack with their chances. Robertson played a great ball in behind. I believe it was Maitland-Niles got caught out. Mane's in. Maitland-Niles did just about enough to put him off. And Mane's he's slipping. He's put the ball wide. I don't think nothing in terms of a penalty kick there. That's fine. But yeah. Scope says, I don't think Liverpool will win the league next season. Who do you think will win it then? Answers in the comments section, please. Nick says Mane is missing every opportunity. I know he's scored this game, but he's not as clinical like usual. Yeah, like I said earlier, small margins, right? When it comes to Liverpool and how good they've been all season. It's just been missing since the restart. Don't know if we can blame them. They've won the league. They've done all they had to do. They've put so much effort into getting over the line and doing that as quick as possible. And I think the break for them mentally, a lot of teams in the Premier League maybe wouldn't have been too bothered either way if the games came back or they just called the table as it was. But Liverpool wanted to win it, want to do it properly. They've done it now. And I think we're just seeing a bit of, dropping a couple of percentage levels. Game is 2-1, Kumba. And Arsenal have a rare corner and a rare attack here, but keeping the ball a little bit, but giving away a free kick. So maybe another chance for Liverpool late on. We're in the 87th minute in this watch-along. Arsenal 2, Liverpool 1 at the Emirates Stadium. Okay, so it's getting to that time of the night. This is a difficult one, but man of the match. Comments section. Let me know over there, wherever you guys are looking at the comments. Who's your man of the match for tonight? As we get onto a couple of DJ Serrani. Chelsea need 2 centre-halves. I think United need 1 new centre-back. If United can get Sancho, maybe a Grealish and a centre-half, then them and Chelsea are looking like contenders. I agree with that. I think they need a little bit more help defensively, centre-back, and then Grealish would be a luxury. They're linked with a lot of wide players. Not sure if Sancho will happen, especially with Greenwood's resurgence or emergence, should I say, this season. So yeah, be very interesting. Okay. Van Dijk and Alisson, man of the match from Wheezy. Slight tongue-in-cheek there, I think, that comment. Obviously, their mistakes have given Arsenal both their goals and they're 2-1 up. And this is all about Liverpool beating themselves rather than Arsenal beating Liverpool. I think we could all agree with that, right? Everyone is watching. A lot of votes for Lacazette for man of the match. Another block from Rob Holding. David Luiz is chucking himself in there. You know what? I think I might go for someone. Maybe Keita hits a shot right at Martinez, 89th minute. I think I might go for. I think Rob Holding has just done like enough there to hold that Arsenal backline together. Been very solid since they went 2-1 up. Liverpool had a few chances, obviously. But yeah, I think he's made a lot of good blocks. I was quite surprised he hasn't played in recent weeks. He played well against Southampton, I remember, with a clean sheet earlier in the restart. And then obviously Mustafi, David Luiz have been preferred partnerships, and Kolasinac playing a bit out of position as a third centre-back or one of the 3 centre-backs. But Aubameyang's on the clear here. Flicked it to Pepe, comes back. Oh, and Wood slices it wide. Arsenal nearly wrapped up all 3 points there as we go into the 90th minute. But yeah, I think I can see from the comments that a lot of you probably don't know who to give man of the match to. It's difficult, this one, because Liverpool have done all the pressing. Mane's been running his socks off with a lot of chances, but it's put the one away, but hasn't been clinical. And there's been some decent performances from Arsenal, but mostly, obviously, defensively. There's Divock Origi, wriggles free on the left. But Ceballos is there. He's been good since he's come on, and has been really good since the restart. I asked Arteta recently about him, and he said he wants to keep him. Arsenal are trying to work with Real Madrid to get a deal in place. Obviously, he's on loan, and that loan runs out in a few weeks' time now. But But I would love to see Arsenal keep Ceballos on a permanent basis. But Arsenal's goalkeeper, Emiliano Martinez. Xhaka was solid too, James. That's a good shout. I was going to say Xhaka. Xhaka, Holding, Martinez. Kind of shows you the way the game's gone, right? All defensive players for Arsenal. Matteo is loving this performance. Says that he loves Arsenal. That's my favourite team. Well, we're going to be happy if they can hold on in the 4 minutes remaining of stoppage time. There's 5 minutes of stoppage time, nearly through a minute of that. Ceballos has given away a free kick about 40, 50 yards out. It's been taken quickly. Alexander-Arnold has played it, fired it in at Mane. It's gone straight out of play for a goal kick. And Jurgen Klopp clearly said, get it in the box. What are you doing? The entire Liverpool team is up in the Arsenal penalty box. Klopp cannot believe his players played it short. And that little passage of play, I think, kind of sums up Liverpool's day, doesn't it? Just off it. Final finish, the final cross, final pass isn't quite there. And the two big defensive errors, first from Van Dijk and then from Alisson, very unlike those two, look like it's going to lead Liverpool to their third defeat of the Premier League season and their second since the Premier League restart. So, final thoughts really on this game so far. When we look at Liverpool, since the restart, they've obviously had 2 draws and 2 defeats now in their 7 Premier League games. So not great form. And Liverpool fans, are you concerned about next season? Are you concerned? Interesting to see. Xhaka clears the ball, wave after wave, Liverpool attack. Nobody up front for Arsenal, so it just keeps coming straight back. And yeah, some questions about Mesut Ozil. He really isn't part of Mikel Arteta's plans. A lot of question marks about his future there at the Emirates. Ceballos hacks it clear. Arsenal defending for their lives at the back. Liverpool chucking everyone forward now. 2 minutes of the game to go. Alexander-Arnold whips one in. Tierney heads it out. He's been pretty good today, right? Kieran Tierney's given them something going forward. Defensively been much better. So Angela said they'll finish top. Definitely concerned about Liverpool. They're still going to sort the boys either way. Cameron Robertson said they'll finish top 4. And the score, Matteo, if you can't see it, it's 2-1 to Arsenal. 94th minute now. 1 minute stoppage time to go. And this is it. It is defense against attack now. Liverpool lumping the ball into the box. David Luiz wins a towering header. Shaqiri tries to get it. Kolashinak's battling away. Liverpool keep the ball. Just over a minute to go now. Can Arsenal hang on? Who thinks Arsenal will win? That's a good question. That is a good question in the comments section, Vitali. Corner to Liverpool. 1 minute to go. I want to see, what do you think? Arsenal or draw? Do you think Liverpool will get a late one? Comments. Let me know right now. Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool will score. Win for Arsenal. Arsenal. Oh, it's a corner, but they're asking for a handball. It's another corner. All the big men are up for Liverpool. Fabinho's gone for a short. They've gone for a short corner, catching Arsenal out here. Robertson's got it. Alexander-Arnold, edge 30 yards out, deflects. Oh, just wide. That was so close to an equaliser there. Alexander-Arnold, from way outside the box, deflected just wide of the post. Another corner, 95th minute. Time is up. Ball comes in. Van Dijk's up. Luiz heads it clear. Still in the box. Liverpool player goes down. Shaqiri puts the ball in the net, but it's disallowed for a foul by Divock Origi. And that was intense. Kieran Tierney's down, but Arsenal, to a man, you have to say, they've defended really well today. Liverpool have had chances, but they're throwing themselves in front of this. And we're seeing a replay of Alexander-Arnold's shot deflected off. Oh, it hit the post. Didn't even see that. Deflected off Willock, hit the post in the 95th minute. And Origi fouled Tierney. The Arsenal player stopped. The ball came out to Shaqiri and he swept it home, but the whistle already went. No goal. Lacazette's calling for the whistle here. And there it is. Massive, massive win for Arsenal. 2-1 against Liverpool. I'd go as far as saying that's the biggest win so far from Mikel Arteta as Arsenal manager. Jurgen Klopp didn't look happy, but all smiles. Cedric and Lacazette and Reece Nelson, they all look very, very happy. And Arsenal fans, you must be delighted. So, wow. Very, very good game. Thanks for joining me so much for the watch-along. Again, I'm Joe Prince-Wright from NBCSports.com, the editor and lead soccer writer over at Pro Soccer Talk. You can catch up with all the reaction and analysis after the game. We'll have video highlights, reaction from Jurgen Klopp and Arteta, the Liverpool and Arsenal players. This is a big win for Arsenal now. They're right in the battle for 6th place for the Europa League. Arteta's team put in a gutsy, gritty display. Liverpool dominated. Didn't play as they usually would, though, did they? With the not a lot of space for them to get in behind. So good tactics there from Arteta. Really impressed by what he's doing at Arsenal. And yeah, interested to see how this spills over into next season, both from a positive sense for Arsenal and from a negative point of view from Liverpool. So I'm going to leave this open now for a few more minutes. Send me any other questions you have on the Premier League, talking about the top 4 race, relegation, next season, which players you want to see coming in. So any other questions you want to wrap up the results from today in the Premier League. It's been pretty wild out there. We had a 1-1 draw between Burnley and Wolves, which was very dramatic late on. Obviously, Tottenham beat Newcastle 3-1. Man City beat Bournemouth 2-1. Valiant effort there from Bournemouth. And Arsenal have just beat Liverpool 2-1. So how that shapes up in the standings, Arsenal have moved up and are really in the hunt now for 6th place. They're just off 3 points off 6th now. And then in the top 4 battle, Chelsea have a 4-point gap in 3rd place to 4th place Leicester and 5th place Man United. But they both play tomorrow. Man United away at Crystal Palace, Leicester at home against Sheffield United. Some big games there. And yeah, it's getting really interesting in the Europa League and top 4 battle. It's going to go down to the final game of the season. And at the bottom of the table, Bournemouth are running out of time. They've got 2 games left and they're 3 points away from safety, but maybe 4 with their goal difference. West Ham and Watford hovering just above the bottom 3. They're on 34 points each. So, and they play each other on Friday, which is going to be a massive game at London Stadium. And Aston Villa, they're 19th, 4 points from safety, but they do have a game in hand over Bournemouth just above them. And if they beat Everton tomorrow, they can put themselves right back in with a chance of safety. And they have that big game against West Ham on the final day of the season. So let's get to some more of your questions. What are my thoughts on the outcome of Chelsea against Liverpool? Well, based on this, I would say I fancy Chelsea to go to Anfield and get something. They obviously need to, more so than Liverpool in the top 4 battle, but maybe a draw, Chelsea against Liverpool. Seeing the way Liverpool defending, seeing that those big moments are kind of just going against them. So obviously that's coming up next week. Hoping to do another watch along for that, to keep that on your radar. Next Wednesday, Chelsea against Liverpool at Anfield. Liverpool will lift the trophy at the Kop End. No fans, of course, but will still be a wonderful moment as Liverpool will be crowned officially the champions of England for the first time in 30 years. Highlight videos are coming up on Pro Soccer Talk and on the NBC Sports YouTube channel within the next 45 minutes or so. Usually they're up very quickly. And it'll be very interesting to see. Okay, I'm going to finish with some other questions here. Do I think Leeds and Brentford can be the next Sheffield United or Wolves? It's tough for teams coming up, but they've shown that it can be done. I think Leeds financially could have some backing, not maybe quite as much as Wolves, but Leeds is such a well-supported, massive club that they do come back to the Premier League after it's been 16 years now, is it, since they were back in the Premier League last? So look like they're going to get over the line. I think they could do really well. And Brentford, yeah, kind of a Sheffield United, kind of a. I'm trying to think of a good example here, because a lot of teams have gone up and gone straight back down recently. But they'll play an attractive, open style of football, which may seem South get shot in the foot a little bit, but I think they've got enough about them and the recruitment style to do well, Brentford. So if they do come up, it'd be great to see them. Okay, any more for any more? Any more questions? Do we know when the 2020-21 season will start? And if fans will be back? Thinking early to mid-September. That's the sort of noises. Nothing official yet. Interested to see that in the Bundesliga. They said they're going to have maybe 20,000 fans at some games and trial that, see how that goes. And then in Ligue 1 in France, they're thinking they might have some fans. Le Havre had a friendly against PSG earlier this week where there was 5,000 fans in a 30,000 capacity stadium. So Thomas, to answer your question, I think we'll see a few fans coming back. This is my personal opinion. Don't know this yet, but maybe a few fans coming back and see how it goes and build it up gradually and slowly but surely. So that'd be great to see. Final question: who do I favour to win the FA Cup? FA Cup semi-finals coming up this weekend. Arsenal against Man City, Chelsea against Man United. I think Man United are going to beat Chelsea. They've had their number this season, done quite well against them. And I think Man City will beat Arsenal. So that'll be an all-Manchester final in the FA Cup. I've just got a feeling, obviously, United have had Man City's number as well. So I've got a feeling Man United are going to win the FA Cup and see Ole Gunnar Solskjaer running around Wembley with the trophy. And that's what I think. Okay, a few more questions coming in here. Are Real or Man City the favourites to win the Champions League? Or are they favourites in the Champions League? I think Man City are just the favourites because they're at home in the second leg. But Real Madrid been really gutsy and getting right on the brink of winning the La Liga title. So showing a slightly different side of themselves. But I think Man City have too much. And I think De Bruyne will run the show. So, okay. That's it. Thanks for joining me. Cheers to everyone around the world from where you're watching. One final time, maybe give yourselves a shout out of where you've been watching from. I know we've had pretty much every continent covered, so this has been wonderful to join you guys. I know we can't all be together right now for the most part, so let me know where you're watching from finally. I'll say see you later from here in the US. Cheers to you all, and look forward to another watch along very soon. So thanks very much. You've got San Francisco in the house. Have a good afternoon and evening out on the West Coast. And that's it from me. Thanks for watching this watch along. It's been an absolute pleasure. Again, I'm Joe Prince-Wright from NBC Sports. Head on over to Pro Soccer Talk. Check out our YouTube page as always, and we'll have you covered for all angles of the Premier League, Champions League to come throughout the summer and every single soccer tournament you could possibly imagine. So thanks for watching across the US, across the world, and I'll speak to you all very soon. Cheers, guys. Thank you.